All right. Shalom, family. It's your brother Kanaiba coming at you again with another video. And the title of this video is The Attack on the Mind, the Israelite Man's True Strength. So we're living in a day and age where there's an attack on masculinity in general, right? But there's an even bigger attack on the Israelite man's masculinity, okay? And not only his masculinity, but also his intellect, right? And the way that the powers that be, so to speak, actually attack the Israelite man's masculinity and his intellect, they do it through the different Luciferian ideologies that they push, And they push these Luciferian ideologies through media, be it movies, commercials, music, etc., right? And one of those Luciferian ideologies being feminism. In fact, that's one of the biggest ones. But that leads me to a commercial that I saw, about a week or so ago. And, I saw the agenda behind the particular commercial. And as we already know, on this particular channel, we look at things from a biblical and a spiritual vantage point. So if you don't look at this particular commercial through a spiritual lens, from a spiritual vantage point, you're not going to understand what you're looking at. Okay? So let's get into the commercial and let's see what we have. All right. Oh boy. Did y'all catch that? Oh man. All right. It's like I said, if you're not looking at this thing from a spiritual vantage point, you're not going to see what's going on. And, there's some people out there that may say, it just seemed like a harmless commercial, But, nah, that's not it. So, let's actually go into the commercial and actually break down what's actually being displayed, the subliminal message that's being put into our minds, so to speak. All right. As the commercial begins, we see the brother is in a blue car. Now, there's a reason for that. Okay, it had to be a blue car because, number one, again, this is about masculinity. Okay, when dealing with gender, blue usually represents what? The male. Pink usually represents females, right? But also, in ancient times, black people or people of color were referred to as the blue man, okay? And that reference, the blue man, was because the other nations viewed us as gods, okay? So they called us the blue man, all right? That's some homework for you. I'm not going to get too deep off into that because I don't want this video to be too lengthy. But in ancient times, we were referred to as the blue man, okay? The other nations, they know the power that lies within us as Israelites, okay? So that's why they have him in the blue car, all right? And also, not to digress too much, but not only were we referred to as the blue man, but black people were also referred to as the green man as well. When you go and you look at a lot of the different pagan gods of ancient Kemet, which were people of color. Now, we're not Egyptians. You can get that out your mind. We're Israelites. But as far as people of color, when you look at a lot of their ancient deities, the depictions of those deities, a lot of times the skin color would be green, okay? Because that color green, painting the skin green, it was for vegetation, number one, because a lot of their pagan gods were gods of vegetation, so to speak. And the color green also represents fertility, okay? Because people of color tend to be more fertile than the other nations, all right? So moving forward in the commercial, we see here the cameraman zooms in on the brother's cell phone. Now, first, look at the color scheme of the screensaver of his cell phone. It's blue and pink. Now, what did I say in the beginning of this video? That there is a war on masculinity, okay? The screensaver being blue and pink lets you know that this is dealing with gender, okay? That's a clue. Now, look at the time. It's 2:30 or 2:30. 2 times 3, of course, is what? 6. Then you look at the date. The date is January the 18th. Now, the number 18 is an allusion to 666. Of course, 3 times 6 is what? 18. So the number 18 is an allusion to 666. Now, look at the text message he has. And look at what words are highlighted in blue. Okay, the words switched and saved, right? So what is this letting us know? That what their plan is to switch gender roles, okay? And by the switching of gender roles, that's going to save us, or we're going to have a more progressive society, so to speak. Okay, that's the subliminal message that's really being told through this commercial. Okay, but what we have to understand, that's not progression. That's regression. Okay, that's confusion. All right. So now let's go forward a bit to the part where the cameraman zooms in on the emblem on the front of the car, the female emblem that's on the front of the car that's singing as well. And they put emphasis on her portion of the song. And let's see what she says, okay? You've got the brawn, I've got the brains. Let's pause right there. So what she said was, you've got the brawn, I've got the brains. So we've already established that there is an attack on masculinity in general, okay? But the focus is the Israelite man. That's our focus. And what the subliminal message is in this particular video is that you, the Israelite man, that's why they had to have an Israelite man as the star of this particular commercial, because that's who this message is for. The message is you are only good and necessary for your physical attributes. Nothing else. Okay? Not your brain, because you're not to be viewed as one with intellectual prowess. You're not to be viewed as someone that's smart, intelligent, or wise. That's the message, okay? This is also in veneration of the quote-unquote mother goddess, okay? This is to venerate the divine feminine. That's what this society does, okay? That's why the emblem, number one, is a female. And number two, the emblem is silver, okay? What you got to understand is within the craft, that they deal with what's called alchemy. Now, the alchemical metal that's associated with the moon is silver, okay? And the quote unquote moon goddess is Selene. All right. That's really what this is an allusion to. Okay. They throw their idol worship in these commercials as well. What did I start off by saying? They try to mess with the minds of the masses through their Luciferian ideologies. Okay. And they'll do it subliminally. But they're becoming more out and out with it in these last days. Okay. But what we have to understand is not only are the Israelite men physically superior to the other nations, but the Israelite man, when in his right spirit, is also intellectually superior to the other nations as well. Okay? And that's what they fear the most. In order for the Israelite man to lead his nation, you have to have wisdom. Okay? You can be as physically strong as you want to be. In fact, they use this to their advantage. Through the Israelite man's physical prowess, we actually make the other nations money. Okay? Just look at sports. It should be obvious. But when in your right mind, Israelite man, you are also intellectually more superior as well. And that's what I want to get into. All right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 24 and verse 5. And it reads, "A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth strength." So what truly makes a man strong is his wisdom and knowledge, not so much his physical prowess. That's a part of strength, but that's only physical strength. The most valuable strength a man can have is what? His wisdom. Okay? And that wisdom is the wisdom of God's word, of the law, statutes, and commandments, and all the wisdom that's found within the Bible. All right? Let's jump down to verse 10, and it reads, "If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small." Now, if your strength is small in the day of adversity, as the scripture says, what does that tell you? That when adversity came, you didn't have the wisdom and knowledge to deal with it, because that's where strength comes from. Remember what we read in the verses above. It said that a wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth strength. So if you want to make it through adversities, you have to have wisdom and knowledge to do so, because wisdom and knowledge is what's going to give you the strength to make it through those adversities. All right, let's take a look at this. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 6, and it reads, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure." So the beginning of the verse says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." Now, why is it that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times? We already read it. Because wisdom and knowledge is where our strength comes from. It's what gives us strength. Okay, remember, a wise man is strong, and a man of knowledge increaseth strength. Okay, it's not so much about your physical attributes, Israelite man. Okay, even though we have that, but it's what's more important is the wisdom and knowledge that you have, which is where your strength comes from. All right. So don't let these Luciferian agendas discourage you and make you think that, your mind is not worth anything, that you're not smart, or that you don't have the ability to be a wise individual. Okay? Because wisdom is key. Let's take a look at this. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7. And it reads, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding." So, the beginning of this verse says wisdom is the principal thing. Okay? So, wisdom is one of the most important things you should be focused on in this walk. Okay? Not so much your physical attributes. Now, that's not saying brothers can't go out, and exercise and keep your body in shape and things of that nature. There's nothing wrong with that per se. I work out myself. But wisdom is truly where your strength comes from. The Most High giving you wisdom and understanding. All right. So now the question is, what ultimately is our wisdom? Okay, because whatever that is, that's where our strength lies. Now, let's take a look at this. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, starting at verse 5. And it reads, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it." Verse 6 is the point. "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." So what does this let us know? That the laws of the Most High, the laws that he gave us, that's where our wisdom comes from, our wisdom and understanding. Okay? And this is what makes the other nations look at us in awe. Okay? Again, going back to the blue man concept, they viewed us as gods. And they really still do, but, they're not going to out and out say that. But, I think this is a good place to end the video. Brothers need to be vigilant, because there's definitely an attack on masculinity in general, and specifically on the Israelite man. There's an attack on your masculinity and your intellect as well. So, brothers need to try and become more spiritual so you can be more ready to counter these attacks that's being made upon you. All right. So until next time, family, Shalom.